Good evening. This is 5 Minutes with David. And Jesus has me sharing this evening a little bit about anger. It's a special relationship with anger. I've had quite a week with this in understanding really what's going on below the surface of my mind about this. You know, here at the center, the whole purpose for being here is to see all of the upsets so that they can be healed. And there's no shortage of them. My mighty companions are pretty powerful at making me angry, so thank you for that. And I had an incident this week. I brought my car down here. It was guided for me to bring my car down. And Kay was riding with me, and we got back here, and just something occurred that just really enraged me. And I don't need to go into detail about it, but I was angry. There's no question about it. And it was the afternoon, and I was like, I'm not talking to you. I don't even want to see you. In fact, I feel like leaving. But I stayed, but I wouldn't join. And the whole point, the whole key here is when there's a twitch, an upset, is to join with the mighty companion to look below the surface and see what desire is causing it. But I wasn't having any of it. I was pissed off. And so the next day I woke up still angry. And after our morning session, I just realized, you know what, this isn't going to go away unless I do something about it. So I said, Kay, I need to join with you. And we went into a meditative state, collaborated with Jesus, and started asking questions. And the first question that came up was, Kay serving me at the highest level by doing and saying what she did? And Jesus said yes. And then the next question was, my anger a defense against serving her at the highest level? And I hear him even now saying yes. And he said, the bottom line is you're relishing the secondary gains from this anger: safety, comfort, power, happiness. And then I asked him, Jesus, do I believe that anger is my everything? And I'm hearing yes right now too. He said yes. He said it's your go-to proof that God does not exist and love does not exist for you. That's why you're holding on to it. He says, bottom line is you have a special relationship with it. And he told me, he said, I would rather experience anger than every bit of love that God has for me, which is pretty eye-opening. So Jesus says the real issue, so one of the assignments that he's given me over the past couple months to work on opening up my heart to truly accepting and allowing love is by expressing affection as guided by him. And this is something that I've had absolutely no interest in. Total resistance, like, no, don't touch me. And he said, while we were talking and looking, he said, the real issue with your fighting affection is that you believe that you won't be able to hold on to or use anger anymore. So anger is protecting me from affection. He says, anything that will stop, block, or prevent my anger, I am not welcoming. I'm not allowing. It's definitely a special relationship. He says you believe that you will be bereft without it. And he says it's your safety mechanism also to keep people away, to keep love away. And it's, I'm valuing it at the subconscious level. He says you believe that you're receiving or getting tremendous pleasure from your anger. He says you adore it. You adore it. So then I asked Jesus, do I believe all the happiness that I've experienced in my life is because of my anger? And I can hear him now saying yes. My believed happiness, anyhow. I asked, do I believe I could never be happy without anger ever? And he says, yes. He says, because you believe it's going to give you a loss of power, losing your safety and your freedom. He says, you just feel completely unsafe without it. And he says, it gives you infinite freedom. You don't want to lose that either. So he tells me my entire world revolves, has revolved and revolves around the sensation of experiencing anger. And yeah, so the next step, love for me has always seemed fleeting. It comes and goes. I don't really want it. I haven't allowed it. And when I experience it, okay, I have it, but then it goes away. And he says, I'm holding on to a concept that love is fleeting, but anger never leaves me. It's reliable. It's always here. So I have embraced it as my form of love. Jesus, do I use anger to protect myself from hearing your voice? Yes. Something else I haven't wanted to hear. Everything that I believe that I am in my life, everything is wrapped up in anger. So the next question is, Jesus, do I believe I have the power to transcend anger? And it's a clear no. So Jesus, do I believe that anger is more powerful than I am? And I get a yes. And so he says, this is why right now I consider love to be horrific for me. Like it's the worst thing that could happen to me. And that's why affection, guided affection, is so well defended. He said, anger is my proof that God has abandoned me and that I've been abandoned by love. So I have everything set up in my favor already. He says, I believe I have no control over anger, and my greatest fear is to see that I do have control over it, because I won't be able to hold on to anger as my comfort anymore. I won't have a special relationship with it anymore. So on one hand, I'm horrified by the idea of love, and on the other, I believe I'm unworthy of all the love of the Father. That's upside down. Unworthy of extending love to another when the holy instant, which I have with me and in me, wants nothing from me just to give me love. So I asked him, Jesus, do I believe that anger is my God? Yes, right now. So I say, get behind me, Satan. Would I rather be angry than accept my innocence? Yes. So the bottom line is that anger, I believe, is a demon that we all have. We're all possessed until we're not. And I asked him what assignments will help me, and started coming up with a couple of desires to look at. But just really to see overall that every special relationship, whether it's anger or anything else in the world, is a love affair with hell. So then that was that day. The next day, I joined with Kay again because, there was still more coming up, still more boiling. And so we joined, we started talking to Jesus. He said, okay, it's a defense against your innocence. Jesus, do I believe my innocence is the worst thing that could happen to me ever? He said, yes. He says, I refuse to be innocence. I am not going to be love. I'm going to do everything I can to block it. I will not feel love. And he said, you're being ridiculous. And so he said, anger is where you believe all of your success in the world comes from. He says, where do you think all of your drive-through sexcapades came from? You believe it was a way to get rid of anger. Sex was a way to get rid of anger. So this is going deep, no pun intended. Sex is an expression of anger. He said orgasm is holding on to anger because it's holding on to the idea that the world is real. So I'm keeping it real. He says it takes an enormous amount of anger to generate an orgasm. And then what? It's over. You got nothing. So then we continue to go deeper. He says below the anger is the desire for sacrifice and the fear of losing choices and the fear of losing pleasure. So there's an extreme pleasure in having the anger of experience. So he said, look at and relish the desire for sacrifice, relish the desire for pleasure in anger, and relish the desire for the fear of losing choices. And so those are what I'm looking at right now. And so I'm just kind of looking back at everything and, why is this happening? How is this happening? And Kay has reminded me a few times that the reason that I'm here, that I chose to come here, is that, Jesus is offering specific mighty companions for all of us to help, and for me, to help me see what's going on. And he said that I chose to be here with Kay. And the first time, well, she told me that. And the first few times she told me, I was like, I don't think that's going on here. But lo and behold, she's showing me, many different areas of the mind where I'm holding on to all sorts of desires, especially anger. And and so, over the last few years, I've asked Jesus to help me find a way to allow love to flow through me, God's love. And he just keeps reminding me that there's nothing other than love. There's nothing more important than love. There's nothing of any value but God's love. So lo and behold, he brings me to the boot camp for God. And it's powerful. It's not easy. It takes a lot of courage. We see people come and go, but we see the mighties who are committed and devoted and willing to walk through the fire like we've seen others do, especially Kay. We're not going to get to the other side. We're not going to get through the valley of the shadow of death without walking through it with Jesus. It's the only way, because otherwise the ego will take us out in a nanosecond. And so what's most important here is that when I am upset, that I make the choice to look. And what does that mean? I mean, to look with Jesus, look at the desire. Miracles occur at the level of desire. That's where they happen. Jesus says in the Course that the truth was lost by my desire. The truth will be returned to me by my desire, as it was lost to me by my desire for something else. Not talking about the level of emotion, the level of desire, which is below that. The Buddha said desirelessness is nirvana. So the desire was the first thing that happened, the desire for something other than God. And the desire is the root. To me, it's the roots of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And the way to take the tree down, the fastest and the easiest, is to go to the desire. And how do we do that? We look at that with Jesus. Jesus, do I have this desire for the experience of extreme pleasure and anger? Yes. Okay, I'm willing to admit it. Can I have a miracle on it? No, you need to look at it. Okay, show me how much I relish this desire. And it's just suppressed tension. Desire is nothing more than suppressed tension to hold on to it, and that's what's causing tension in my life. And when I look at it with Jesus, I say, show me, and this tension starts coming up. And all I have to do is look at it and admit it and give it to the light and continue to do that. And then Jesus, am I ready for the miracle? Or is there more to see? There's more to see. Okay, keep showing me. And eventually, in short order, when being decisive in a matter of 10 minutes or 20 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, the desire is released and the root is cut out. And the emotion, the feeling of it is gone. So I don't have to spend the time, even though I did with anger. I don't always do that, but the sooner I step in and look, choose to look and put my pride aside and put my ego aside and say, you know what, this isn't going to work any other way. I'll never, ever find happiness on my own. I have to look. And it's been so powerful. The miracles come and the joy comes, and it's just a work in progress. There's a lot of looking to do and a lot of miracles, or a lot of desires to uncover and release to miracles. But I believe, I don't know that there's any faster way other than following. Following is critical, 100%. The combination of those is the formula and the key. And so, yeah, I'm just really, really grateful for the love being extended here, for the miracles that are coming and that are giving me the willingness to allow the love, to accept it, to receive it, and the healing of my mind. It's just been amazing. It's happening on a pretty quick basis, but I know that there's a long ways to go too. And I just really, I'm grateful. I don't know that there's any faster way to do this. So I know that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I'm with the mighties that I need to be with, and I love them all. And it's just, yeah, it's a beautiful experience here. So this has been a little longer than 5 minutes with David, but yeah, it's what Jesus is showing me. So thank you.